You've seen them. The guys on the internet in a rented Lamborghini, standing in front of a mansion that is definitely not theirs, screaming about passive income and mailbox money. They've cracked the code, they say. Money just appears, like magic, like a financial tooth fairy that visits you while you sleep and leaves cash under your pillow instead of asking any questions about where your teeth came from. Now, usually, when a stranger on the internet promises you free money, the correct response is to grab your wallet, your cat, and your grandmother and sprint in the opposite direction. But here's the twist. In the stock market, and only in the stock market, there is one legitimate, government-approved, completely legal way to get paid just for existing. It's called a dividend. And today, we are breaking it down so simply that even your goldfish could start building generational wealth. Probably. What even is a dividend? When you buy a share of stock, you are not buying a flickering number on a screen that goes up and down like your emotional state during a Monday morning meeting. You are buying a tiny, microscopic, almost embarrassingly small piece of a real business. Some companies, like tech startups, take every single cent they make and immediately shovel it back into the company. They need fuel for growth and expansion, or to buy beanbag chairs for the office. Whatever. But then there are the other companies, the big, ancient dinosaur companies, the Coca-Colas and the Home Depots. The corporations so old and so profitable that they are genuinely sitting in a board meeting going, "Gerald, we have too much money again. What do we do with it?" And Gerald, brilliant man that he is, says, "Why don't we just give some of it back to the people who own shares of the company?" And that, my friend, is a dividend. A company saying, "Thank you for believing in us." Except instead of a handwritten card, they just wire money directly into your brokerage account, which is honestly a better gift than most people get on their birthdays. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a pizza, beautiful pizza, 8 slices, perfectly golden, absolute masterpiece. Most investors look at that pizza and think, "I'm going to hold on to this pizza until it becomes a bigger pizza, and then I'll sell the big pizza for more money than I paid for the small pizza." That is called capital appreciation, and it is a perfectly valid strategy. And also, it means you are sitting there staring at a pizza without eating it like some kind of monster. Dividend investors? They don't want to sell the pizza. They just want the restaurant to deliver them 1 slice every 3 months, directly to our house, while they keep the rest of the pizza safe in the fridge. You still own the pizza. The pizza is still yours. But every quarter, a little slice just shows up at your door. We're all beginners here. And trust me, there's no judgment. Most of us have at least one crypto horror story in our past. But if you're ready to graduate from gambling to actual investing, you only need to care about 3 numbers. Number 1, dividend yield. This is the percentage of the stock price the company pays you annually. Stock costs $100, yield is 3%, you get $3 a year, split into quarterly payments of 75 cents. Is 75 cents life-changing? No, but you also didn't do anything. You just owned a thing. That's the point. We're building an empire here, not collecting bus fare. Number 2, payout ratio. This is your safety check. Your "is this company absolutely cooked" detector. If a company earns $1 but is paying out $1.10 in dividends, they are literally robbing their own piggy bank to keep you happy. That is not sustainable. That is a company on financial life support, pretending everything is fine while quietly selling the office furniture. Red flag. Big red flag. Flag so red it's basically screaming at you. You want a company that pays out less than it earns, ideally comfortably less, so they have room to breathe, grow, and not collapse the moment the economy sneezes. Number 3, dividend history. This is where it gets legendary. You're hunting for what the finance world calls Dividend Aristocrats. And no, that is not a fancy country club, although, honestly, it sounds like one. Dividend Aristocrats are companies that have raised their dividend, not just maintained it, raised it, every single year for at least 25 consecutive years. Through recessions, through pandemics, through every financial catastrophe the universe has thrown at humanity. They just kept sending the checks. Let's see how to lose money while feeling smart. This is the part where people get hurt. Financially, emotionally, sometimes both simultaneously. You're browsing stocks one day, minding your business, and suddenly you see it. a dividend yield of 14%. 14%! You hear angels singing. You see your future. The beach house, the early retirement, the artisanal coffee you'll sip every morning because you no longer have to be at work by 9. Stop. Do not move. That is a trap. That is the financial equivalent of a cartoon safe painted on the side of a wall. The moment you run toward it, you're going to realize it's not real and fall directly into a canyon.
Here's what actually happened. The stock price crashed because the company is in serious, possibly fatal trouble. When the stock price drops but the dividend payment stays the same, for now, the yield looks astronomically high. You're not getting a great deal. You're watching a building burn down and thinking, wow, great price on that real estate. This is called yield chasing, and it is the financial version of picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. You might get a few cents. You might feel very clever. And then the steamroller arrives and you have a much larger problem than pennies. Now, let's get into the actual secret sauce. This is the strategy that moves you past the spare change phase and into the money machine phase. If you want to turn your brokerage account into a literal printing press for cash, this is how you do it. It's called DRIP, or Dividend Reinvestment Plan. Instead of taking your dividend payment and spending it on something reasonable, like groceries, or something unreasonable, like a novelty waffle iron shaped like a dinosaur, you tell your broker to automatically take that money and buy more shares of the same stock. Next quarter, you have more shares. More shares means a bigger dividend check. Bigger dividend check means even more shares get bought. Even more shares means an even bigger check, and so on, forever, until the end of time, or until you decide to retire, whichever comes first. The snowball starts tiny, embarrassingly tiny, but it rolls down a very long hill made entirely of money, picking up more money as it goes, until one day you look up and the snowball is enormous, and it's paying your rent, then your car payment, then your groceries. Then, if you're patient and consistent and resist the urge to buy the dinosaur waffle iron, eventually your entire lifestyle. Okay, but how do I actually start? Fair question. Here's the beginner move. Dividend ETFs. An ETF is basically a bucket, but instead of water, the bucket is full of stocks. Hundreds of them. All dividend paying, all diversified, all working together like a beautifully choreographed financial flash mob. You buy one share of the ETF, and suddenly you own a tiny piece of hundreds of different companies across different industries in different corners of the economy. If one company has a bad year, it barely dents you because you've got 99 others picking up the slack. It's the ultimate set it, forget it, check it in 10 years, and quietly sob with joy strategy. No reading annual reports, no analyzing earnings calls, no pretending to understand what a price-to-earnings ratio means at a dinner party. Just buy the bucket, keep adding to the bucket, let the bucket do its thing.